They are in line at a company waiting for a job interview, and in line were 4 people, and the first in line was an elderly lady. And in the queue, a girl who was behind a boy touches him and shows that the lady's purse is open and that there is money inside. He takes the money and gives it to her, who puts it in her wallet. The gentleman at the end of the line tells him to return the money to the lady he saw when the young man took it out of his bag. The girl then asks if he is sure what he is talking about, and the lord's daughter says that it is true that they took the lady's money. So the boy tells her to be quiet and that she didn't see anything, and at that moment the man asked him to pay attention to the way he spoke to his daughter. So the boy says that where he has seen a child bring a child to the job interview queue. At that moment the lady looks at her purse and the gentleman says that he just wants him to return the lady's money. The girl keeps claiming that she didn't take any money, so the lady says not to worry because her money stayed at home. The girl then says that he is accusing her in vain, because he says he didn't take anything, and asks the lady what she is doing there in line for the interview and that it was time to retire and stay at home. The boy insults her, calling her an old woman and a deaf woman for not answering the girl, and continues saying that she shouldn't even be there and that she should get out of the queue. The lady leaves her place while they say she's going to be late, but the gentleman at the end of the line doesn't let her go and gives his place to her, saying that she's not going anywhere and that he would be in front of her. The child then asks why she let them talk to her like that, so she says she's too old to argue and that it doesn't matter anymore. So Sir asks her why she is looking for a job at that age. She says it's out of necessity, and then asks why he's there with his daughter. He then says that he has no one to leave her with and where he goes she is with him, so she asks if his wife doesn't help him and he says that his wife hasn't been with him for a while and that today it's just the two of them. She says that I felt sorry for them. He says that everything is fine and that he has no problems and that they are things in life, in that the two of the freight are disdainful when listening to the conversation. The lady then takes a fruit from her bag and gives it to the child. The father then asks the daughter how to speak when she wins something and the line thanks her. The lady says it's so she doesn't get sick while waiting in line, and then says she wants to go to the bathroom, but she's afraid of losing her spot. The gentleman then says she can go and he holds her place in line. She thanks him for his kindness and leaves. At that moment the company employee arrives and says that the interview will begin soon and that they go in and wait at the reception. The two who are in front enter and the man remains standing in his place. Then the employee asks him if he is not going to participate in the interview or if something is happening. Then he says that everything is fine, and that he just wanted him to wait a little longer because a lady needed to go to the bathroom and still hadn't come back. The boy then says that the problem is who left and not him. The man says he promised he would save his place and asks if he can wait for 5 minutes. The boy asks him if it is worth saving a vacancy for an interview for a competitor. He says yes, so the boy decides to wait for the time he asked for. The child tells the father that it is taking a long time, so he asks him to calm down and that he is just waiting for the lady to arrive and that they soon entered. In this the young man says he can only wait 2 more minutes and the man asks him to wait just 1 more moment and that he could not do his interview without you coming back. She then returns apologizing for the delay, and they head inside to begin the interview. Meanwhile in the waiting room the boy says that the interview will start and that the first one to be interviewed will be you. The 2 young people revolt and says it's a neglect and she says that if she knew she wouldn't have waited so long and the boy confirmed her placement. At that moment the gentleman manifests himself saying that they are questioning what is fair and that it would be better for them to keep quiet. So the boy says that he only brought his daughter to be able to go ahead and that he lets you go ahead even though they are the first to arrive and that this is an injustice. The girl says that if the lady is hired it will be his fault, and that she is sure she brought her daughter just to make a show of it just to be hired. He then says that if the lady is hired it will be because she has more capacity than they do and that they have no right to say where he takes his daughter. Then the boy returns saying that he is going to call the owner of the company and that she will be the one to do the interview with them. At that moment the lady who was in the waiting line enters, greeting them. The indignant young woman says that what is happening there is a joke, and that she has no time to waste and because the owner does not show up soon. Then she says that she owns the company and that it was all a test she took to hire decent people to work for her company. And she goes on to say that the two of them don't have the capacity to enter her company. The girl then apologizes for not knowing that she was the owner of the company and asks her to look at her curriculum, and at that moment the boy also tries to deliver his curriculum. And they keep urging her to look at their resumes saying they really need the job. So she says that it won't be necessary, and that she returns her money, but changes her mind and says that she doesn't need to return it because it will be the only one they will have for a long time. Because if it depends on her they won't get work in any company in the country, and she asks them to leave her company. At that moment the two leave without saying anything. She turns to the old man and says that he is hired to work with her. He didn't understand, and she didn't even look at his curriculum. She says it wasn't necessary, because all he did for her in line was a test and he passed. His daughter then thanks her and he hugs his daughter very happy.